Hello everyone, welcome to the channel, and today I'm doing something else that I wanted to do. I'm gonna yap. So, as of the day of this recording, it is the 10th anniversary of Undertale, which means that the game is 10 years old. It came out September 15th, 2015, which was 4 years after I was born, and 7 years after I was born, and about, let me think, 3 years after the game came out, I discovered it, and it was one of the best games I had ever played, or seen, really, at that point. I wanted to talk about how that game has left such an impact on my life, and the way I am, kinda. I'm stupid, but as of recording this audio, and the B-roll footage in the back, it should be September 15th, 2025. However, this video might come out on the 16th. So if you're seeing it on the 16th, that's probably why. Hey, I just wanted to pause right here and say, it is very obviously not the 16th. In fact, as the day of releasing this, it is the 21st. And there is a reason for that. The day that I was going to edit everything, throw it together, make everything look good, the air conditioner in my room broke. And if you listen really closely on some of my videos, you can hear that air conditioner in the background. Now, without that air conditioner, it gets so hot in this room that I sweat after just 2 minutes, and I'm actually at risk of having a heat stroke. So, while my air conditioner thawed, I could not be up here. So I did not get to edit the recording on the day I wanted to. Then I had to get caught up in school, or else I was going to fail half my classes. But at the time that I am finally getting around to editing this, it is 11:58 p.m. on the 20th. So, yeah, sorry about that. Anyways, enjoy the rest of the video. So, yeah. Today is the 10th anniversary, and Toby Fox has announced that he's doing a 10th anniversary stream, playing through the game again. And I have B-roll of the footage of the game in the background, probably, most likely. Unless I decided to change it to something else, like Minecraft parkour or something, for, like, B-roll retention. But, what was I saying? Right, this game changed my life in astronomical ways. Mostly the games I play today, and just the media I consume, what I enjoy, it's all there. You can see it. It's nothing, like, mind-blowing. When I played the game, I was about 7 years old. It was the peak of, like, 2018, I think? Let me think. 15? Yeah, the peak of 2018, and I got my grubby little hands on none other than frickin'... Hold on. I got my hands on none other than fucking Deltarune. The December of 2018, I got my hands on the game Deltarune. I remember I had someone's old computer. I don't remember whose it was, but someone in my family had it on their computer. And I have to really think really hard about this one, because it's really hard for me to remember. But I did have my hands on someone's computer, and they ended up having Deltarune. And it was like chapter 1. And I forgot about it very quickly. But the May of the very next year, I was on my Switch, and at this point I didn't remember ever, like, seeing chapter 1. And I looked up Undertale on the Nintendo eShop. Because, I was starting to get into the community and stuff. And I found Deltarune. And at this point, I knew what Undertale was. I had played it. I had raged at it. Like, this was actually a game that I played now. And it was a beautiful game. But what it did for me was it caused me to, like, look for fan games and, like, try to get my hands on it. on however I could. Which meant when I looked up Undertale on the Nintendo eShop, I got 2 games. And it was Undertale, which I had already bought and been playing for a while, and a game I'd never seen before called Deltarune. And you know what? I was so wired to Undertale that I thought, well, this is a fan game. Was this allowed? And I downloaded and played it. And I played the entirety of Chapter 1 that day. If I had never seen Undertale, I would have never seen Deltarune. My channel wouldn't exist, because I only started my channel because I wanted to show Deltarune content in other indie games. And if it weren't for Undertale, I wouldn't have gotten into indie games, which means I would have never played Hollow Knight. Which I'm only playing Hollow Knight recently, I guess. But I wouldn't have played 90% of the games that I enjoy today. And sure, the fandom was kinda not okay, especially while I was a child. I feel like that was kind of part of the reason I got exposed to so many things. I never saw, like, porn or nothing, but I saw bad things. Oh my god. If you were in the fandom at that point, you know what I'm talking about. But what was I going to say? Oh, right. I already had, like, a connection to this game. So, when I saw Deltarune, I thought it was a fan game that had somehow slipped its way into the eShop. And, you know what? It stayed that way. Until... Fuck, when was it? Shit. I think it was during the pandemic. No, it was a little after the pandemic. A little after the pandemic, I opened up my Switch, and I saw the game. It hadn't been played in like a year, more than a year, like 3 years. And like the pandemic was like calming down. No one was really scared anymore. Everyone was going back to school for the first time, and for like a year. And I opened the game up, and lo and behold, there was a chapter 2. So, and this is the point where I really start to do research on this, because if this fan game was big enough to get a second chapter, unlike most fan games which get abandoned, then, you know, someone must be talking about it. So I look it up, and I find the announcement trailer. Now, I had missed that year's anniversary, the anniversary that revealed Deltarune Chapter 2. I had missed that. I had assumed it was nothing special. If I had seen that, oh my god, bro. That would have, like, flipped my worldview. And seeing Chapter 2 did. Because the second I figured out that shit was made by Toby Fox, holy crap, man. My life flipped. And I know this is becoming a lot more about Deltarune, but really, it's Undertale's fault. Because if I'd never seen Undertale, I would have never found Deltarune. And I wouldn't have been so hardwired to indie games like I am today. And I think that's a good thing. Undertale itself was a beautiful game. I remember, like, I only had it on Switch. That was the only way I got to play it. And I remember I used to just, like, hoard that thing. Because it was a shared Switch between me and my brothers. And I would hoard that thing to play the game, man. Because that game was, like, it was the best thing I'd ever played at that time. And when I finally figured out how to do the genocide route, I remember being so angry at Sans that I nearly broke a TV. Like, that shit was crazy. Thankfully, now I can beat him no problem, along with the Roaring Knight, so I guess little me had a skill issue. But, really, introducing me to Deltarune in the first place is life-changing enough as it is. The fact that it is now 10 years old, and I am 14, and it is now 10 years old, is just astonishing to me. Because I could have sworn it was just yesterday when I was a little 8-year-old boy playing in some Deltarune while thinking it was a fan game and being like, oh, this is a really cool fan game. And going back to Undertale and playing Undertale for like the 40,000th time and being like, man, I can never get tired of this game. And it's just it's so hard to me to realize that was nearly 6 years ago. And oh my god, so much has changed in those 6 years. When Chapter 2 came out, I remember how I can, like, name every Deltarune Theory video between 2021 and 2025. And that's crazy. Because I memorized every theory between 2021 and 2025. I was so obsessed with this game, bro. Cause dude, what do you mean? Like my one of the people who made my favorite games of all time has made another game that is nearly better than the first. And come 4 years later, that was all but true to me. That was literally like it was a known truth to me that this game, that Deltarune was so much of a better game than Undertale. And I'm not saying that Undertale is a bad game. Undertale is like an amazing game. It's one of the best games I've ever played. So the fact that Deltarune can beat Undertale like that just proves how like great of a game it is. And Deltarune caused me to discover so many more things. Like I would have never played Deltarune if it hadn't been for so many of the Silksong jokes. Not Deltarune. I would have never played Hollow Knight if it hadn't been for so many of the Silksong jokes that I'd seen browsing theories on Reddit. Because, I really wasn't interested. I wouldn't have been interested otherwise. And if I wouldn't have seen that if I hadn't played Deltarune, and I wouldn't have played Deltarune if I hadn't seen Undertale. It's a chain of events that has shaped the content that I watch too, because I started out watching comic dubs and, all the cringy 2019 stuff you would see, but that evolved into me watching video essays and people playing indie games and all my favorite creators, and the respect for small creators that I gained over the years is all because of Deltarune and Undertale and how I used to watch and how I started giving indie games a chance after I played that game. And it was just I wouldn't be playing indie games to this day if it hadn't been for Undertale. There's no other explanation for that. Oh yeah, and I also was a big Sans Undertale hater. Like, I hated that dude with all my whole heart, bro. Nowadays, I know that dude is fire. That is, like, fire character rating. However, back in the day, I hated that dude. It wasn't even because he was a bad character, it was because I couldn't beat him. I also had very strong opinions about Undyne the Undying, so... In conclusion, because I can't yap forever, I want this to be less than an hour-long video, because I could go on for hours and hours about how Deltarune and Undertale are the two single best games that I've ever played. But I'm not going to do that, because I don't need to. Because most of the people here already know that's true. And say what you want in the comments. You know what? Tell me it's a bad game. But if you want to tell me it's a bad game, then prove it. Prove it's a bad game. Because you can't. Anyone who puts more than 30 minutes into the game is going to see that it is a good game. And I honestly believe that. I'm not saying everyone's going to like the game. I'm just saying they're going to realize it's at least a good game. What I came here to say was a congratulations to Toby Fox. Which, congrats, dude. I know you're probably not watching this. I'm sure no one's going to watch this for, like, maybe another 5 years. Someone's gonna see this on the 15th anniversary and be like, "Oh, hey, look at this weirdo." It's gonna be something. But congratulations to Toby Fox for creating such a writing masterpiece. And happy birthday, Undertale. 8 more years and it's gonna be able to drink driving in my car right after.